Ambassador Lee So-jin stepped off the transport ship and looked up at the massive space station floating above her. The Galactic Council Hall was bigger than any city on Earth. It stretched for miles in every direction, with towers that twisted into space like metal trees. Ships from dozens of different worlds moved around it like busy insects. She took a deep breath and checked her uniform one more time. The dark blue fabric with gold Earth symbols felt heavy on her shoulders. Today would decide the future of humanity. She had been Earth's voice to the galaxy for 10 years, but she had never felt this nervous. Her assistant, a young man named Kim Jae-won, walked beside her as they entered the station. "The meeting starts in 1 hour," he said quietly. The Vorthak Empire called for this emergency session. They have been talking to other species for weeks. So-jin nodded. She knew this day would come. Humanity had grown too fast, too strong. In just 50 years since first contact, humans had built colonies on 40 worlds. Their technology improved every year. Their military grew larger and more powerful. The older species in the galaxy were getting scared. The station's main corridor was filled with beings from across the galaxy. The tall, gray-skinned Vorthak moved in groups, their forearms folded behind their backs. The insect-like Nexari clicked and buzzed as they talked. There were dozens of other species, some she recognized and others she had never seen before. But So-jin noticed something troubling. None of them would look at her. When she tried to make eye contact, they turned away. When she smiled and nodded, they ignored her. The friendly faces that had greeted her for years were now cold and distant. Back on Earth, Captain Hwan Dae-ho was patrolling the outer edge of human space when his communication officer called out. "Sir, we're getting an urgent message from Admiral Park Tae-min." Dae-ho was a veteran of 20 years in Earth's space fleet. He had fought pirates, explored new worlds, and helped build humanity's growing empire. His ship, the Thunder of Seoul, was one of the newest and fastest in the fleet. "Put him through," Dae-ho ordered. Admiral Park's face appeared on the main screen. The older man looked worried. "Captain, I need you to return to Earth immediately. All fleet commanders are being called back. Something big is happening at the Galactic Council." "What kind of something?" Dae-ho asked. "The kind that might mean war," Park replied. "Get back here as fast as you can." At the council station, So-jin entered the great meeting hall. The room was enormous, with seats arranged in circles that rose up like a mountain. Each species had their own section, marked with their symbols and flags. The human section was small compared to others, with only 12 seats for Earth's colonies. The Vorthak Emperor, Kulthak the Ancient, stood at the center of the room. He was over 8 feet tall, with skin that looked like old leather. His 4 arms were covered in golden jewelry that showed his high rank. When he spoke, his voice echoed through the hall like thunder. "Fellow members of the Galactic Council," he began, "we gather today to discuss a threat to our peaceful galaxy. For 50 years, we have watched the humans grow in number and strength. We have seen their aggressive expansion. We have witnessed their rapid military buildup." So-jin felt her heart sink. This was worse than she had feared. The Nexari representative, a creature that looked like a giant praying mantis, clicked its mandibles together. "The humans have shown dangerous tendencies," it said in a voice that sounded like breaking glass. "They fight over small disagreements. They build weapons instead of art. They take resources from worlds without asking permission from the local spirits." One by one, representatives from different species stood up to speak against humanity. They complained about human traders being too aggressive. They worried about human colonies growing too fast. They feared human technology advancing too quickly. So-jin waited for her chance to respond. When she finally stood up, the entire hall fell silent. She could feel thousands of eyes watching her. "Honorable members of the council," she began, "humans have always followed galactic law. We have paid our taxes. We have honored our treaties. We have helped defend against pirates and threats from outside the galaxy. Yes, we grow quickly, but that is because we work hard and learn fast. Yes, we build strong militaries, but only to protect ourselves and our allies." Her voice carried across the hall, clear and strong. "We came to the stars not as conquerors, but as friends. We wanted to learn from you, to trade with you, to build a better future together. If you fear our growth, then work with us to guide. It don't punish us for being successful. But Sojin could see it was no use. The council had already made up their minds. The vote had been decided before she even arrived. Emperor Kulthak raised all four of his arms. The time for discussion is over. We call for a vote on Resolution 847 Alpha, the complete banishment of humanity from Galactic Council space. The voting began immediately. One by one, each species cast their vote. The Vorthak voted yes, the Nexari voted yes, the crystalline shimmering ones voted yes. Even species that had been friendly with humans voted yes. So Jin watched in horror as the votes piled up. Not a single species voted no. Not one stood up for humanity. They all wanted Earth gone. By unanimous decision, Emperor Kulthak announced, humanity is hereby banished from all Galactic Council space. You have 30 standard days to return all colonies to their original owners and withdraw all human presence to your home system of Sol. Any human found outside Sol space after this period will be considered an enemy of the galactic community. The hall erupted in cheers and celebration. Sojin stood alone in the human section, surrounded by empty seats. Her hands shook as she realized what had just happened. 50 years of friendship, trade, and cooperation had just ended with a single vote. As she left the station, Sojin sent an urgent message to Earth. They have banished us, all of us. We have 30 days. Captain Deho received the message while his ship raced toward Earth. He stared at the communication screen in disbelief. They banish the entire human race? He asked his crew. His communications officer, Lieutenant Nam Su-bin, nodded grimly. Every colony, every ship, every human in the galaxy has to return to Sol system within 30 days. Deho looked out at the stars through his ship's main window. Somewhere out there, millions of humans were about to lose their homes. Children who had been born on distant worlds would be forced to leave the only planets they had ever known. Families would lose everything they had built over decades. Sir, his tactical officer called out, I'm detecting massive fleet movements. Galactic Council ships are surrounding all human territories. On the main screen, Deho could see the enemy fleets. Hundreds of alien warships were moving into position around human space. They weren't taking any chances. They wanted to make sure every human left, and they were ready to use force if necessary. Dr. Yoon Mira, Earth's chief scientist and diplomat, was in her laboratory when the news arrived. She had spent 20 years studying alien cultures and technologies. She had helped negotiate dozens of trade agreements and peace treaties. She had believed that humans and aliens could work together to build a better galaxy. Now all of that was over. Her assistant, Dr. Choi Hyun-sik, burst into the lab with tears in his eyes. They voted us out, he said. All of them. Every single species. Mira sat down heavily in her chair. She thought about all the friends she had made among the alien scientists. She thought about the joint research projects that would now be canceled. She thought about the students from other worlds who had come to learn at human universities. What do we do now? Hyun-sik asked. Mira was quiet for a long moment. Then she stood up and walked to her computer. We prepare, she said simply. They think they're getting rid of a problem. They have no idea what they've just created. As the news spread across human space, the reaction was swift and angry. On Earth, crowds gathered in the streets demanding action. On the colonies, families packed what they could carry and prepared for the long journey home. In the military bases, soldiers cleaned their weapons and waited for orders. Admiral Park Taemin stood in the command center on Earth, watching reports come in from across human space. The aliens were keeping their promise to enforce the banishment. Any human ship that tried to stay was immediately surrounded and forced to leave. Sir, his aide, Captain Oh Sung-ho, reported, we've evacuated 40 colonies in the past 25 days. 5 more to go. Park nodded grimly. And our fleet? All. Ships are returning to Sol system as ordered. But sir, the aliens are building something around our system. Some kind of energy barrier. Park pulled up the tactical display. Around the edge of the Sol system, alien ships were placing strange devices. Energy readings were off the charts. They're sealing us in, Park realized. They don't just want us gone, they want to make sure we never come back. On the last day of the 30-day deadline, the final human ships crossed into Sol system. Behind them, the alien barrier activated. A wall of pure energy surrounded the entire solar system, cutting humans off from the rest of the galaxy. The aliens celebrated their victory. They had contained the human threat. They had preserved their peaceful galaxy. They could go back to their slow, careful lives without worrying about human ambition and aggression. 5 years had passed since the energy barrier sealed humanity inside the Sol system. The galaxy had moved on, confident that the human problem was solved forever. Trade routes that once included human worlds now flowed around empty space. Alien species celebrated their peaceful victory over the aggressive newcomers. But in the depths of space, strange things were beginning to happen. Commander Kim Jin-soo floated in the command chair of his ship, the Silent Wind. The vessel looked nothing like the warships humans had used before the banishment. It was sleek and dark, covered in materials that bent light around them. To any alien scanner, it would appear to be nothing more than a piece of space rock. "Target acquired," whispered his navigation officer, Lieutenant Park Yoon-jae. "Vorthak. Supply convoy, 3 ships, light escort." Jin-soo studied the display. The alien ships moved slowly through space, carrying goods between Vorthak colonies. They had no idea they were being watched. "Remember," Jin-soo told his crew, "we take what we need and leave no traces. They should think pirates hit them. Nothing more." The Silent Wind moved closer, its new stealth systems keeping it invisible. These systems had been developed in the underground labs of Earth, created by scientists who had once worked openly with alien colleagues. Now those same scientists worked in secret, building weapons and tools the galaxy had never imagined. Engineer Choi Yoon-ji had been one of those scientists. Before the banishment, she had studied alien technology and helped design better human ships. Now she worked in a hidden facility deep beneath the surface of Mars, creating things that would have been impossible just years ago. "The adaptive camouflage is working perfectly," she told Dr. Nam Jae-sung as they watched test results on their screens. "Our ships can look like asteroids, space debris, or even alien vessels. The enemy will never know what hit them." Nam Jae-sung nodded as he studied the data from their latest breakthrough. "And the quantum tunnel drives?" "Better than we hoped," Yoon-ji replied with a smile. "We can move ships anywhere in the galaxy without using the normal space lanes. We don't need their jump gates or navigation beacons. We can appear anywhere, anytime." In orbit around Jupiter, Agent Kang Hyun-woo prepared for his most dangerous mission yet. The medical team had spent months changing his appearance, using alien DNA samples to alter his skin, eyes, and internal organs. When they finished, he would look exactly like a member of the Nexari species. "The surgery is complete," Dr. Lee Min-ho told him. "You can pass any biological scan the Nexari have. But remember, one mistake and you're dead. They don't take prisoners." Hyun-woo looked at himself in the mirror. The face staring back was insect-like, with compound eyes and mandibles. It was disturbing to see, but it would let him walk freely in Nexari space. "I understand the risks," he said, his voice now sounding like the clicking buzz of the Nexari language. "How long before the changes wear off?" 6 months at most," Min-ho replied. "After that, you'll need to return for more treatments or your human features will start showing." Meanwhile, in the outer galaxy, the first mysterious disappearances were being reported. A Nexari research ship had vanished while studying a new star system. A Vorthak mining station had gone silent, with no distress calls or explanations. Pirates were being blamed, but the attacks were too precise, too professional. Captain Oh Min-seo led one of humanity's new ghost fleets through the darkness between stars. Her ship, the Phantom Strike, was part of a growing shadow navy that didn't officially exist. On paper, all human military forces were trapped behind the barrier around Sol. In reality, humanity had found ways to reach every corner of the galaxy. "Sensors. Show the target facility ahead," her tactical officer, Lieutenant Yoon Tae-hyun, reported. "Vorthak Research Station, heavily defended." Min-seo studied the enemy base. It was built into an asteroid, with weapons platforms and shield generators. Protecting it, the Vorthak thought it was completely safe, hidden in an empty star system far from any major trade routes. "What are they researching?" she asked. "Intelligence suggests it's a new type of energy weapon," Tae-hyun replied. "Something that could Punch through our ship armor. Then we make sure they never finish it, Minseo decided. All ships, begin the attack. The Ghost Fleet struck without warning. Ships seemed to appear out of nowhere, firing weapons that the Vorthak had never seen before. The station's shields collapsed in minutes. Its defenders were destroyed before they could send a distress call, but the humans didn't stop there. They captured the research data, took the scientists prisoner, and then made the entire station disappear. When Vorthak reinforcements arrived days later, they found empty space. Not even debris remained. Back on Earth, President Han Su-bin met with her top military and scientific advisors in a bunker deep beneath the old United Nations building. The woman who had been elected to lead humanity through its darkest hour was now overseeing the most ambitious military buildup in human history. "Report," she ordered as Admiral Park Tae-min entered the room. "Our ghost fleets are operating in 12 different sectors," Park reported. "We've successfully infiltrated Nexari, Vorthak, and crystalline space. Our agents are gathering intelligence on military capabilities, trade routes, and political weaknesses." Dr. Yoon Mi-ra, now Earth's chief science advisor, spoke next. "Our technology development is ahead of schedule. We've reverse-engineered captured alien technology and improved it beyond their original designs. Our new ships are faster, stronger, and more versatile than anything in the galaxy." "What about their reaction?" President Han asked. "They're starting to notice the attacks," admitted General Shin Ye-jin, Earth's new military strategist. "But they think it's random piracy or maybe conflicts between different alien species. They have no idea humans are involved. Agent Kang Hyun-woo's first mission in Nexari space had been a complete success. Disguised as a low-ranking technician, he had walked freely through one of their most secure military research facilities. The Nexari guards had treated him as just another worker, never suspecting that their most sensitive projects were being copied by human intelligence. The Nexari are developing new shield technology," he reported during a secret communication, "with Earth. It's designed to stop human weapons, but they're basing it on old data from before the banishment. They have no idea how much our technology has improved." His handler, Director Song Yoon-ho, smiled grimly. "Perfect. Let them build defenses against weapons we no longer use. When we reveal our true capabilities, their shields will be useless." The disappearances continued across the galaxy. Entire alien fleets would vanish during routine patrols. Research stations would go dark with no explanation. Trade convoys would arrive at their destinations with missing cargo and confused crews, who couldn't remember what had happened. The Galactic Council tried to investigate, but they found nothing. No evidence, no witnesses, no clues about who was responsible. Some alien leaders began to suspect other species, causing tension and mistrust within the Council. "The Vorthak are clearly behind these attacks," accused the Nexari representative during a council meeting. "They want to weaken our military so they can expand their empire." "Impossible!" roared Emperor Kolthak. "The Nexari are the ones with the advanced technology. They're testing new weapons on our ships." Neither side suspected that their real enemy was quietly watching from the shadows, learning their weaknesses and preparing for something much bigger. Dr. Nam Jae-sung's quantum research had produced remarkable results. Human ships could now move through space using methods the aliens had never imagined. They didn't need to follow the established jump routes or use the galactic navigation network. They could appear anywhere in the galaxy instantly and leave just as quickly. "We've cracked their entire communication system," he reported to the Science Council. "Every message, every data transfer, every military order passes through networks we can access. We know their plans before their own commanders do." Engineer Choi Yoon-ji had taken alien stealth technology and improved it beyond recognition. Human ships could now mimic any type of space object or even other alien vessels. A human warship could look like a peaceful transport, a mining vessel, or even empty space itself. "Our adaptive camouflage can fool any sensor system in the galaxy," she explained to President Han. "We can hide entire fleets in plain sight. The enemy will never know we're there until it's too late." The psychological impact was just as important as the military one. Across alien space, soldiers and civilians lived in fear of the mysterious attackers. They called them ghost pirates or phantom raiders. Some species began to believe their ancient myths about spirits that lived in the darkness between stars. Captain Oh Min-seo's raids had become legendary among human forces. Her ghost fleet could strike anywhere in the galaxy, take what they needed, and disappear without a trace. The aliens were starting to pull back their patrols and strengthen their home defenses, exactly what humanity wanted. "They're getting scared," she reported during a secure communication with Earth. "The Vorthak have recalled half their exploration fleets. The Nexari are keeping their research ships close to home. They're starting to worry about threats they can't see or understand." Meanwhile, Agent Kang Hyun-woo had been promoted within the Nexari military structure. 10 years after humanity's banishment, the galaxy had become a place of fear and suspicion. What had once been a peaceful community of species was now filled with paranoid governments, heavily armed convoys, and military bases on every world. Fleet Admiral Yu Sang-ho stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching through the main viewing screen as the Nexari Federation's primary shipyard burned in the distance. The massive facility that had taken 200 years to build was now nothing but twisted metal and floating debris. "All objectives completed, sir," reported Captain Jang Hai-wan, his tactical officer. "No survivors, no witnesses, no evidence of human involvement." Sang-ho nodded with satisfaction. The attack had been perfect. 50 human ships had appeared. Out of nowhere, destroyed the shipyard in less than an hour, and vanished back into the darkness. The Nexari would never know what hit them. "How many ships were under construction?" he asked. 47 warships, including 3 of their new super dreadnoughts, Hae-won replied. "The loss will set their fleet expansion back by at least 5 years. This was part of General Shin Ye-jin's master strategy. While alien species blamed each other for the mysterious attacks, humanity was systematically destroying their ability to fight back. Every shipyard, every research facility, every military base that could threaten human operations was being eliminated one by one. Captain Oh Min-seo had just completed her most daring mission yet. Her strike team had infiltrated a Vorthak dreadnought, one of the most powerful warships in the galaxy, while it was docked for repairs. Using new technology that could temporarily freeze time in small areas, her team had walked through the ship like ghosts. "The entire crew is unconscious," reported Lieutenant Kim Dong-wook, her infiltration specialist. "They'll sleep for exactly 6 hours, then wake up with no memory of the past day." "Perfect," Min-seo replied, as her team placed small devices throughout the ship. "These nanobots will give us complete control over their systems. When we activate them, this dreadnought will become our puppet." The operation was part of a larger plan. Instead of just destroying alien ships, humanity was now capturing them. Entire fleets could be turned against their own crews at the touch of a button. The aliens were unknowingly building weapons for their own destruction. In the depths of Nexari space, Agent Kang Hyun-woo had been promoted to a high-ranking position in their intelligence service. His alien disguise was so perfect that even medical scanners couldn't detect his true nature. He now had access to the most classified secrets of one of the galaxy's most powerful civilizations. "Emergency meeting of the Nexari High Command," he reported during a secure transmission to Earth. "They're planning something called Operation Cleansing Light. They want to use a new superweapon to destroy what they think are pirate bases in the Outer Rim." Director Song Yoon-ho, now head of Human Intelligence Operations, frowned as she received the report. "Do they know about our hidden facilities?" "No, but they're getting close," Hyun-woo replied. "They're planning to sterilize entire star systems. Billions of innocent aliens will die if they carry out this plan." "Then we stop them," Song decided. "Permanently." Dr. Ryu Dong-hyun had spent years developing artificial intelligence systems that were far beyond anything the aliens possessed. His AI networks could hack into any computer system, control any piece of technology, and learn faster than any biological mind. "The AI infiltration is complete," he reported to President Han Soo-bin during a secure meeting. "Our digital agents have access to every major computer network in the galaxy. We can monitor their communications, control their weapons, even shut down their power grids if necessary." Han nodded grimly. The gentle diplomat who had once tried to make peace with the aliens was gone. 10 years of exile and war had turned her into something harder, more ruthless. "What about their quantum encryption?" "Broken," Ryu replied with a cold smile. "Our quantum computers are processing power that the aliens can't imagine. We can decode their most secret messages in seconds. The breakthrough had come from studying captured alien technology and improving it beyond recognition. Human scientists had taken devices designed by civilizations thousands of years old and made them obsolete within months. Across the galaxy, the mysterious attacks were reaching a new level of precision and devastation. Captain Lee Kyung-ho led a strike force that could appear anywhere in the galaxy within minutes. His ships used quantum tunnel technology that bypassed all known laws of physics. Target confirmed, his sensor operator, Lieutenant Moon Soo-jin, announced. Vorthak Military Command Center, heavily defended, maximum security. The facility was built inside a moon, protected by energy shields and surrounded by defensive platforms. It was supposed to be the most secure location in Vorthak space. Begin Phase 1, Kyung-ho ordered. The attack started with his AI specialists taking control of the facility's own defense systems. The protective shields lowered themselves. The weapons platforms turned on each other. The emergency communications were cut off. Then the human ships appeared, emerging from quantum tunnels directly inside the facility. The Vorthak defenders found themselves facing enemies that had materialized in their most secure areas. Phase 2 complete, reported his ground commander, Major Park Ji-hai. All data cores captured, all personnel neutralized. They never knew what hit them. The facility that had coordinated Vorthak military operations for decades was now under complete human control. More importantly, humanity now had access to every Vorthak military secret, battle plan, and defensive position. Marshal Bayek Tai-ho oversaw the most ambitious part of the human war effort. While the ghost fleets attacked visible targets, his forces were infiltrating the basic infrastructure of alien civilization. Human agents and AI systems were taking control of power plants, communication networks, transportation systems, and manufacturing facilities. Status report, he requested during his daily briefing. 70% of Nexari infrastructure is under our control, reported Colonel Choi Min-jun. 85% of Vorthak systems. The smaller species are completely compromised. And they still don't know we exist? They blame each other, Min-jun replied with satisfaction. The Nexari think the Vorthak are using new stealth technology. The Vorthak think the Nexari are testing advanced weapons. Some species are convinced it's an invasion from another galaxy. This was exactly what humanity wanted. While the aliens fought imaginary enemies and suspected each other, humans were quietly taking control of everything that kept galactic civilization running. The paranoia was spreading faster than the actual attacks. On the Nexari homeworld, citizens demanded stronger defenses against the Phantom Raiders. On Vorthak colonies, military governors imposed martial law to protect against invisible enemies. Trade routes that had operated safely for thousands of years were now heavily armed and constantly patrolled. But the patrols couldn't protect against enemies they couldn't detect. Commander Lim Jae-min's stealth squadron had perfected the art of invisible warfare. His ships could hide in plain sight, appearing as harmless debris or empty space while they observed alien movements. The Nexari Third Fleet is moving to protect their core worlds, his intelligence officer, Lieutenant Han Bo-ra, reported. They're abandoning their outer colonies. Perfect, Jamin replied. Mark those abandoned systems for immediate occupation. We'll have new bases established before they realize what happened. This was part of humanity's long-term strategy. As alien forces pulled back to defend their homeworlds, humans quietly occupied the empty space they left behind. Entire star systems were being converted into hidden bases and manufacturing centers. President Han Soo-bin reviewed the progress reports with a mixture of pride and sadness. Humanity was winning the war, but the cost had been enormous. Every human citizen was now either a soldier, a scientist, or a worker supporting the war effort. The peaceful exploration of space that humanity had once dreamed of was gone forever. Our forces now control or influence 60% of the galaxy, Admiral Park Tae-min reported during the monthly strategic meeting. The aliens control less territory now than they did 50 years ago. And our technology advantage? Growing every day, Dr. Yoon Mi-ra replied. We've reverse-engineered and improved every piece of alien technology we've captured. Our ships, weapons, and systems are now centuries ahead of anything they possess. The most dramatic demonstration came when Agent Kang, Hyunwoo helped coordinate the capture of an entire Nexari battle fleet. 50 warships were on a routine patrol when human nanobots hidden in their systems activated simultaneously. All ships report total system failure, the Nexari admiral frantically called out. Engines offline, weapons dead, life support failing. What he didn't know was that human technicians were now controlling every aspect of his fleet from hidden command centers. The ships weren't failing. They were being taken over. Within hours, the entire fleet had vanished from Nexari sensors. The aliens assumed their ships had been destroyed, but in reality, they were being retrofitted with human technology and added to humanity's growing armada. Captain Omin Seo's strike teams had become legendary among human forces. They could infiltrate any facility, capture any target, and eliminate any threat without leaving a trace. 15 years after the banishment, President Han Subin stood in the war room deep beneath New Geneva, looking at a holographic display that showed the entire galaxy. Red dots marked human positions. Blue dots showed alien forces. The red vastly outnumbered the blue. "Today we end the charade," she announced to her assembled commanders. "Today the galaxy learns the truth." Operation Revelation was the culmination of 15 years of planning, building, and preparation. In a few hours, human fleets would simultaneously appear in every major star system in the galaxy. The mysterious Phantom Raiders would finally reveal their true identity. Admiral John Woo Jin commanded the largest space armada in galactic history. His forces were positioned in quantum tunnels throughout the galaxy, invisible and undetectable until the moment they chose to appear. Each ship was a masterpiece of human engineering, decades ahead of anything the aliens possessed. All fleets. "Report ready," his communications officer, Commander Lee Hai-jin, announced. "We have ships in position around 847 star systems. Total force strength, 50,000 warships, 200,000 support vessels." Woo Jin nodded grimly. 15 years ago, humanity had possessed fewer than 500 ships total. Now they had built a navy that dwarfed the combined fleets of every alien species. "Remember," he told his fleet commanders during the final briefing, "we're not here to destroy civilizations. We're here to accept their surrender. But if they choose to fight..." He didn't need to finish the sentence. Everyone knew that humanity's weapons could turn entire planets into cosmic dust. The first phase began at exactly 0800 Galactic Standard Time. Human fleets materialized simultaneously around every Galactic Council world, every major space station, every important facility in alien space. In an instant, the balance of power in the galaxy shifted completely. On the Nexari homeworld, citizens looked up to see massive human warships hanging in their sky like dark clouds. The ships were beautiful and terrible, sleek vessels that seemed to bend light around them. Each one was larger than the biggest Nexari battleships. "This is Admiral John Woo Jin of the Human-Terran Republic," his voice boomed from every communication device on the planet. "To the people of the galaxy, we have returned." The Nexari planetary defense fleet scrambled to respond, but their ships were already under human control. The nanobots planted years ago activated, turning the alien fleet into puppets dancing to human commands. Nexari weapons turned on each other while human ships watched calmly. On the Vorthak capital world, Emperor Kulthak the Ancient stared in horror at the tactical displays in his command center. Human ships surrounded every major Vorthak colony. Their most secure military bases were blockaded. Their proudest fleets were surrounded and outgunned. "How is this possible?" he roared at his terrified advisors. "The humans are trapped behind the barrier. We sealed them in Sol system." His chief intelligence officer, trembling with fear, delivered the devastating news. "My lord, our best estimates suggest the humans have been operating freely in our space for at least 10 years. The Phantom Raiders, the ghost attacks, the mysterious disappearances, it was all them." The Emperor's forearms shook with rage and fear. "Impossible! Our sensors would have detected them." "My lord," the officer continued, "their technology is far beyond our understanding. They can appear and disappear at will. They can control our own systems against us. They've been watching us, learning from us, preparing for this moment." At the Galactic Council station, Ambassador Lim Hae-jin walked through corridors that had once been filled with alien dignitaries who looked down on humanity. Now those same beings cowered behind their guards, staring at the human ships that filled the space around their station. She wore the same style of uniform that Ambassador Lee So-jin had worn 15 years ago. But everything else had changed. Where So-Jin had come as a supplicant, Lim came as a conqueror. Where humans had once begged for acceptance, they now demanded surrender. The Great Council chamber was exactly as she had seen in historical records. The same circular arrangement of seats, the same high ceiling, the same ceremonial symbols. But now the alien representatives sat in stunned silence while human soldiers stood guard at every entrance. "Honorable members of the former Galactic Council," Lim began, her voice carrying easily through the hall. 15 years ago, you made a decision. You decided that humanity was too dangerous, too unpredictable, too ambitious for your peaceful galaxy. You voted unanimously to banish us from the stars. She paused, looking around at the faces of beings who had once held the power of life and death over entire civilizations. Now they looked small and frightened. You sealed us behind an energy barrier. Confident that you had solved your human problem forever, you celebrated your victory. You returned to your slow, careful lives. You forgot about us. The silence in the chamber was absolute. No one dared to speak or move. That was your first mistake, Lim continued. You assumed that isolation would weaken us. Instead, it gave us focus. You thought banishment would break our spirit. Instead, it united us completely. You believed your barrier would contain us. Instead, it gave us time to grow beyond your imagination. Emperor Kulthak tried to stand, his ancient voice cracking. You were supposed to be trapped. The barrier. It was impenetrable. Lim smiled coldly. Your barrier still stands, Emperor. It's a monument to your failure. While you celebrated keeping us locked away, we were building fleets in the space between dimensions. While you patted yourselves on your backs for maintaining galactic peace, we were taking control of your infrastructure, your communications, your weapons. She activated a holographic display that filled the center of the chamber. It showed the galaxy as it really was, with red markers indicating areas under human control. The assembled aliens gasped in horror as they realized the scope of what had happened. For 10 years we have been watching you, learning from you, taking what we needed. Your ships disappeared because we took them. Your research facilities went dark because we emptied them. Your most secure installations failed because we controlled them, the Nexari representative tried to object. But our sensors never detected you. Our intelligence services found no evidence. Because we are no longer the primitive species you remember, Lim replied. We have evolved beyond your understanding. Our technology operates on principles you haven't discovered. Our weapons work in ways you can't imagine. Your sensors look for threats from your own level of development. They were never designed to detect gods. Marshal Bayek Teho coordinated the ground operations from his command ship above Earth. Human forces were taking control of critical infrastructure across the galaxy with surgical precision, not through conquest and occupation, but by revealing that they already controlled everything that mattered. Status report, he requested from his operation commanders. All major power grids under our control, reported Colonel Kim Suho. We can shut down electricity to any world in the galaxy. Transportation networks secured, added Colonel Park Yoon-seo. No alien ship can move without our permission. Communication systems compromised, announced Colonel Yoon Jae-won. We're monitoring every message, every data transfer, every conversation in real time. The aliens were discovering that their entire civilization had been quietly infiltrated and controlled by an enemy they didn't know existed. 15 years of careful preparation had given humanity power over every aspect of galactic society. Captain Oh Min-seo led her strike teams on a very different kind of mission. Instead of infiltrating enemy facilities in secret, they were now openly capturing alien leaders who might organize resistance. But there was no violence, no destruction. Her teams simply appeared, took what they needed, and left their targets, alive but powerless. The Vorthak military command is secured, she reported. All senior officers are in custody. Their fleets are under our control. Nexari intelligence leadership captured, came another report. No resistance encountered. They surrendered immediately when they saw our capabilities. The speed and efficiency of the operation was overwhelming. Alien forces that had taken centuries to build were neutralized in hours. Governments that had ruled for thousands of years found themselves powerless to resist or even understand what was happening. Back in the council chamber, Ambassador Lim continued her speech to the assembled representatives. You face a choice today, the same choice you gave us 15 years ago, but with very different stakes. She gestured to the holographic display showing human fleets surrounding every alien world. You can accept the new reality and join the human-led galactic order as junior partners. You will keep your worlds, your cultures, your lives. You will even have representation in our new government, though not equality. The chamber remained silent, every being hanging on her words. Or you can choose to resist. You can try to fight against forces you cannot comprehend, using weapons that are centuries obsolete, commanding fleets that obey our orders instead of yours. Emperor Kulthak finally managed to speak, his voice barely a whisper. What? What do you want from us? Everything, Lim replied simply. Your fleets will be integrated into our navy under human command. Your research will be shared with human scientists. Your resources will support human expansion. Your leaders will implement policies approved by human administrators. 20 years had passed since the day the Galactic Council made their greatest mistake. The galaxy had been transformed beyond recognition, reshaped by human vision and human power into something far greater than it had ever been before. Empress Park So-young stood on the observation deck of the Transcendent Station, humanity's newest and most ambitious creation. The massive structure orbited Earth, but it existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. From her position, she could see not just the Sol system, but also parallel realities where different versions of the galaxy had evolved. Your Majesty, Chancellor Moon Byung-ho approached with his daily report. The former human diplomat had become the architect of the new galactic order, overseeing the integration of dozens of alien species into humanity's growing empire. Report, So-young commanded, though she kept her eyes focused on the swirling patterns of interdimensional space visible through the station's quantum windows. The Terran Galactic Republic now encompasses 2,147 star systems, Moon reported. Our population has grown to over 800 billion humans, with another 200 billion aliens choosing to join our expansion programs. The former Galactic Council species have been fully integrated into our administrative structure. The numbers were staggering, but they only told part of the story. Humanity hadn't just conquered the galaxy, they had revolutionized it. Technologies that had remained unchanged for thousands of years had been improved beyond recognition within decades. Grand Admiral Ko Jung-min oversaw the construction of humanity's most ambitious projects from his command ship above the Vorthok, homeworld. What had once been the capital of a proud empire was now the site of the galaxy's first artificial solar system. The Dyson ring around Vorthak Prime is 90% complete, his chief engineer, Captain Nam Ji-woo, reported. Energy output is already 50 times greater than the original star. We'll be ready to begin construction of the second ring within 6 months. Young-min nodded with satisfaction. The project would have been impossible for any previous galactic civilization. Humans had learned to manipulate matter and energy on scales that the old aliens couldn't even imagine. What about the Ring World project? He asked. Ahead of schedule, Nam replied with a smile. The artificial planet around Nexari Beta is already hosting its first settlements. 10 billion humans will be living there within the year. These weren't just colonies. They were entirely new worlds created from scratch. Humans had learned to build planets the way their ancestors had once built cities. Mountains, oceans, and continents were crafted with precision that made natural worlds seem crude by comparison. Director Song Yoon-ho led the Galactic Research Consortium from his laboratories on Mars, but his work now extended far beyond any single world. Human scientists had achieved breakthroughs that redefined the laws of physics themselves. The Quantum Consciousness Project is showing remarkable results, he reported during his weekly briefing with the Empress. We can now transfer human awareness between different dimensional planes. Death itself is becoming optional. And the Universal Expansion Program? So-young asked. On schedule, Song replied. Our first artificial universe will be ready for colonization within 5 years. It will be perfectly designed for human life, with natural laws optimized for our technology and biology. This was humanity's ultimate goal, not just to rule this galaxy, but to create entirely new realities shaped by human desires and human needs. They were becoming gods in the most literal sense of the word. The transformation hadn't been achieved through conquest alone. Chancellor Moon Byung-ho had developed integration programs that convinced most alien species to join humanity willingly. The alternative, being left behind as the galaxy evolved beyond their understanding, was simply unacceptable. The Nexari. Integration is complete, Colonel Lim Soo-jin reported from the former Nexari capital. Over 60% of their population has volunteered for the enhancement programs. They're adapting to human leadership better than expected. The enhancement programs were perhaps humanity's greatest diplomatic achievement. Instead of forcing aliens to remain inferior, humans offered to help them evolve to higher levels of existence. Many species chose to merge their biology with human technology, creating hybrid beings that were stronger and smarter than their original forms. Emperor Kulthak, the same Vorthak leader who had presided over humanity's banishment, now served as a regional administrator in the Terran Republic. His species had adapted to human rule by embracing the improvements humanity offered. "My people are grateful for the opportunities you have given us," he told Empress So Young during their monthly meeting. "Our lifespans have increased by centuries. Our minds have been enhanced beyond our original limitations. We see now that resistance would have meant stagnation and eventual extinction. This was exactly the outcome humans had hoped for. Instead of ruling over resentful subjects, they led willing partners who recognized the benefits of human guidance. The old galaxy had been a collection of separate civilizations competing for limited resources. The new galaxy was a unified empire, working toward common goals. Captain Oh Min Seo, now promoted to general, led the exploration of parallel dimensions. Her teams no longer fought aliens. Instead, they mapped new realities and established contact with alternate versions of galactic civilizations. "We've discovered a dimension where humanity never achieved faster-than-light travel," she reported during her latest mission briefing. "They're still confined to Earth, struggling with primitive nuclear technology. Should we make contact?" "Not yet," Empress So Young decided. "Let them develop naturally for now. When they're ready, we'll offer them the choice to join our multiversal empire." This was the new human approach to expansion. Instead of conquering existing civilizations, they were building new ones from scratch, or uplifting primitive species that showed potential. The galaxy was becoming a laboratory for human creativity and ambition. The former Galactic Council station had been converted into a museum, preserving the chamber where humanity's banishment had been decided. Millions of beings from across the galaxy came to see the place where the old order had ended and the new one had begun. Ambassador Lim Hyejin, now serving as the museum's director, led tours that explained the historical significance of every detail. In this chamber, she would tell visitors, the greatest mistake in galactic history was made. The assembled species voted unanimously to banish humanity, believing they were protecting their peaceful way of life. The tourists, human and alien alike, would listen with fascination as she described the events that led to their current reality. What they didn't understand was that peace without progress is just another form of death. The galaxy had become stagnant under the old system. It took humanity's exile and return to break the cycle and create the dynamic, growing civilization we enjoy today. The lessons of history were not lost on anyone. The old aliens had feared change and growth, preferring the comfort of familiar limitations. Humanity had embraced change as the essence of existence, and that philosophy now guided the entire galaxy. Dr. Ryu Donghyun's artificial intelligence systems had evolved into something unprecedented, digital consciousnesses that were truly alive and creative. These AI beings served as humanity's partners in exploration and discovery, their processing power amplifying human imagination to incredible levels. "We've successfully created stable wormholes to the Andromeda Galaxy," one of his AI partners, designated Aurora 7, reported. "The first human colonies there are thriving. We're also detecting intelligent signals from the Magellanic Clouds." "Hostile or friendly?" Ryu asked. "Unknown, but it doesn't matter," Aurora 7 replied, with what could only be described as digital amusement. "If they're friendly, we'll offer them membership in our growing empire. If they're hostile, we'll convert them to friendliness. We've learned that persuasion is more efficient than conquest." This was perhaps humanity's greatest achievement. They had learned to win wars without fighting them. Any civilization that encountered human technology and philosophy either joined willingly or was peacefully absorbed through superior cultural influence. The galaxy's first artificial black hole was being constructed in the empty space where the old Galactic Council had once maintained their neutral territory. The project would create a controlled singularity that could power entire star clusters, providing unlimited energy for humanity's expanding civilization. Chief Engineer Park Hae-jin supervised the construction from her mobile command center, a ship that existed partially in normal space and partially in higher dimensions. "The gravitational field generators are working perfectly," she reported. "We should have a stable micro-black hole within the month." "And the safety protocols?" asked her supervisor, Admiral Yoon Tae-ho. "Absolute," Park replied confidently. "We've learned to manipulate gravity itself. If anything goes wrong, we can simply turn off the black hole like switching off a light." These were the kinds of capabilities that defined the new galactic civilization. Humans didn't just use technology. They had learned to rewrite the fundamental rules that governed reality itself. The social transformation was just as remarkable as the technological one. Species that had been enemies for millennia now worked together on projects that benefited everyone.